Okay, so on to the money side of things, and how would you choose to spend it in your election campaign? In the last general election, the Leicester West branch of a certain political party received £22,500 in donation, above its normal average of about £2,000 per year. This year, certain groups only have £1,000 to spend on a single candidate. What do you think's the right amount to spend on a candidate, and what's your favourite method of communicating with your constituents?
Well, I think I get a lot of small donations of £10, £15, £20 just from, ordinary Labour Party members or people who aren't members but support me. And I think, at the end of the day, whilst absolutely social media, blogging, the internet is very important, for me the best thing is going out, knocking on people's doors and meeting people, sending letters, sending leaflets. So if I had £1,000, I'd probably spend it on a leaflet which sets out my positive vision for Leicester West, building on Labour's record so far, and then we just get out and pound the streets and deliver it.
I personally have spent, obviously I haven't got the figures with me, but I've personally spent, including my £500 registration fee, I've spent somewhere in the region of £3,000, which was the roof money that we were going to buy or pay for a new roof to be put on top of the house. And so with me being independent and it all coming out of my own back pocket, I've basically just put my money where my mouth is. So I think £3,000 is quite ample to run a good campaign. The way I get my message out to people is by delivering the leaflets myself. I delivered around about 22,000 leaflets on my own. I met quite a lot of people. The message got out through leaflets because it's right on your doorstep and it's right on your face. Another good method is Facebook and YouTube, an internet site which I got set up, and the next stage for me is obviously canvassing.
The amount, that's so difficult. Depends. Just to deliver a letter across the constituency is probably about £6,000 or £8,000. I think realistically, if you're going to actually communicate with everybody via bits of paper, probably about £10,000 is the maximum that should be spent. Certainly we spend far, far less than that. My favourite method is actually become Facebook. I wasn't a convert until fairly recently, but having set up the Facebook campaign page, we're getting an awful lot of interaction. I find that really good. It doesn't pick up people, probably the older generation, who don't like it, don't use it, and you still need to knock on doors and talk to people. But it's a good method, I think.
Right. Well, obviously the deposit we might get back. So that might be an expenditure, it might not be. So if I just through to 500, I believe that the best way of doing it is through leaflets. I think a leaflet through what we call the free post scheme, which is not free in the sense that the leaflet has to be paid for to produce, but it's delivered free by the post office Royal Mail under certain conditions. I know a bit about this because I was election coordinator of the Green Party from 1999 to 2004, so I run the 2001 general and the 2004 European elections. I think that's the best way of doing it. Did you ask the question about how much it should be for a local?
Yes, because of the massive discrepancy that you get between certain parties.
There's two parts of an election. You have to two parts of recording it as well. There's what you call the national part, which comes under the Political and Electoral Referendum Act of 2000, and that is something like a television broadcast or billboards, which are generalised with Gordon Brown, smiling face, etc. They come under the PPRA. Then there's the Representative of the People's Act, which refers to the local part of the campaign, which the free post leaflet is part of that campaign, not the national campaign. I think at a local level, a couple of thousand, £2,500 would be adequate. That would be a decent leaflet. In fact, at some places, when they have things like mayoral elections, quite often what they do is the authority will produce a booklet with everybody's leaflet in it, and they all contribute exactly the same, all of exactly the same size. That is the best way of doing it, and then they go all at once, and they can sit down and compare them.
I think anything more than £1,000 really seems unreasonable to me. It gives the other parties an unfair advantage. I mean, I'm going to be spending less than £1,000. I mean, the Pirate Party are trying to raise £10,000 for all 10 of our candidates, and we haven't quite reached that target yet, so go on and donate if you like. But on the contacting people thing, I think it's important to use social media like Twitter and Facebook and things like that, but also the best way really is getting out and talking to people.
Well, the last question first. My favourite method is to talk to people face to face, either knocking on their door or standing on the street. And that's my favourite method of speaking to somebody. In terms of money, we're at the bottom end of that scale that you quoted. The big parties have vast amounts of money to spend on advertising and press coverage, and it's because they're largely funded by big business. I would rather have lots of people giving me small amounts to try and raise the money to campaign.